Hey Algebra 1, here are the notes for 8.7, multiplying polynomials with polynomials. So when we multiply binomials, we use a specific method, and it is called the FOILing method. So I'm going to turn this. All right, it's called FOILing method. So what this allows us to do, if I take a basic binomial, a, b, c plus d, is we start with the first terms in each binomial. So the first in this is a, the first in this one is c. We multiply those two together, so we get a times d. Then we're going to take the outside terms. So we take a times d. This should have been a times c. Either way you multiply them, they're going to be interchangeable once you add them. So we did our first two terms, we did our outside terms. Now we're going to do our inner terms, so b times c, and then we're going to do our last terms. So this is going to be b and d, so plus b times d. This method that I've just shown you, called FOILing, allows us to multiply all the terms in the first binomial with all of the terms in the second binomial. So let's see an example of this with some actual numbers. So if we find this using the FOIL method, I'm actually going to repeat it down here so that I can show you those lines again. I don't want to mess up my problem up here. X minus 4. So it indicates that I do first times first. Well, x times x is going to be x squared. Next, I'm going to do my inside terms. It's going to be my 3 times x, so plus 3x. Now I'm going to do my outside terms. It doesn't matter if you do the I and then the O, or the O and then the I. I personally do it this way, but ultimately, because we're adding all of them, it doesn't really matter. This is going to be plus a negative 4x. I like to show the negative there. Just don't forget about it. And then, of course, our last terms. So our 3 and our negative 4 makes a negative 12. But this isn't how I'm going to leave my answer. The nice thing about when we FOIL is we can usually simplify it just one step further. So in this case, my x squared can't be added to anything, but you'll notice that these two terms in the middle are like terms. So a positive 3 plus a negative 4 is going to be a negative 1x, and then the negative 12 can't combine with anything, so my final answer is going to be this. Now, my suggestion to you is pay really close attention when we're learning to FOIL, because eventually we will go from something that looks like this down to something like this. And the better you are at breaking things down, building things up, the better you are at breaking things down as well. So let's keep going. Let's find some more of these. So first, my x and my x is going to be x squared. My x and my 3, that's a plus 3x. My 2 and my x, plus 2x, and then my 2 and my 3, plus 6. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what order you multiply things in, so long as you do everything once and don't forget any of your terms. So this final one would be x squared plus 5x plus 6. All right, let's see that again. This time I'll do the lines. First, x squared. Outside, I guess I could do it like this too, that would be cool. Notice how it doesn't matter where I draw my lines, it's just to remind myself how I do things. Outside is 1 times x is a positive 1x. My inside, that's my negative 4x, and then my last, that's negative 4 times 1, which is negative 4. Again, I can simplify this because these two are like terms. We can combine those monomials to get x squared minus 3x minus 4. These are my finals. And let's do one more here. Notice this one's a little different because it has a 2 out in front of the x. The other examples that I've shown you so far didn't have that, but it doesn't change how we solve it. So first, 2x times x is going to be 2x squared. Outer, 2x times 5 is going to be plus 10x, inner, negative x, And then last, negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Simplify those two inside terms to be 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. And that's as simple as you can make it. All right, let's see it again. First, 3x times 4x is going to be 12x squared because we multiply the 3 and the 4, we multiply the x and the x, and then we put it all together in one happy term. Outside, 3x times 3 is a plus 9x. Multiply the 3 and the 3, leave the x. Inside, 1 times 4x is plus 4x. And then last, 1 times 3 is just plus 3. Simplify it, 12x squared plus 13x plus 3. Can't simplify any further, that's my final. And again, it doesn't matter what order we put them in because we just continue to do first. So that would be 2a squared. Outside, that's a times negative, these are actually b's, so that's going to be negative 5ab. Inside, negative 3b times 2a, so be negative 6ab. This one you're going to notice, because I'm multiplying it, it doesn't matter what order I do it in. So when I put it in my final equation, I want to put it in a way that allows these two to be like terms. We could combine if it was AB and BA as well, but this just makes it look a little nicer and it helps us see that those two things are like terms. All right, and then last but not least, we do the negative 3b times negative 5b, which gives us a positive 15b squared. I combine these two pieces in the middle, and I get 2a squared minus 11ab plus 15b squared. And I can't simplify it any further, so that is my final answer. All right. This can be a tricky unit if you forget terms or you forget your order you're going in. But ultimately, it all comes down to this word at the end of the day. FOIL. If you can remember to do first, outside, inside, last, you can always do these numbers. All right. If you have any questions, let me know.